Everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I have a special guest from Vegas. I'm just gonna let you introduce yourself, get into it.
What's going on? My name is Dave. I go by West Coast Dave online. I am a car sharing entrepreneur and educator online. Definitely glad to be here. I met this guy at the Power Host Summit, man, a few days ago. So glad to be on the channel.
Yeah. Super happy to have you. So you have 55 cars right now.
I do.
Give me a little bit of the breakdown. Like what are you working with right now?
So my fleet consists a lot of luxury cars. I'm in the Las Vegas market, so it supports it a lot, right? So I have a lot of luxury cars, but I still have a good amount of economy cars too, because I always preach that economy cars are the foundation. Like those have the highest utilization, so I'm buying those at the same time as I'm adding all these luxury cars.
Okay, that's good. I mean, you gotta have a little bit of balance. You can't just have one way. I mean, so out of
man, for sure, have that balance.
Yeah. So out of like the luxury and the economy, what's your favorite of each? Do you have a favorite yet?
My favorite is definitely luxury exotics. So I have one exotic in my fleet right now. So that's probably one of my favorites.
What is it?
It's a Rolls Royce Ghost that I have. Yeah.
Dang, is that co-hosted?
It is. Well, it's management. I know there's different words for it, like co-hosting, JV deals, partnerships. I like to consider mine management. So my business is structured as a car sharing management company. So I'll manage the cars, but co-host implies that there's more than one person hosting the car. I completely take over, do 100%, and it's meant to be passive for them.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that's a lot of people I'm sure get into and just take it over. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to hear about it. Just
well, you'll be surprised. Some people want to do that, and then some people want to be really hands-on. So I made the point. Well, hands-on, like working with you. Like they want to be hands-on with what the pricing is, what type of pictures you're posting, those type of things for their listing. And for me, I learned early on that can turn into a nightmare, and it could be a headache for me as a host. So I set like the groundwork up front and let them know, hey, this is full management. You're going to get a update from me once a month with your payment, your full breakdown of what happened, the numbers, your expense income sheets. And most people are really happy with that.
That's smart. You have to set the expectation up front, or else
for sure
go wrong.
Bro, you know what, man, is I talked to some people at this Turo Power Host Summit. And what I realized is a lot of people's biggest fear that are already hosts on hosting cars that are owned by other people is they feel like it's going to be like a job where someone's going to be over their shoulder the whole time trying to figure it out. And I learned that even before I got into car sharing. I did some real estate flips and had a bunch of partners, and I got really stressed out with that. So I came into this already knowing, like, if I do this, this is the route that I have to take.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, you can make it a job. Like you can have that relationship. It's gonna suck. I couldn't. I'm.
Yeah. I mean, it could work for some people. For me, I already had a successful system, bro. And like, if you're adding your cars to my fleet, it's gonna get plugged into my system, and then you're gonna get paid every single month.
That's the best way to do it. That's the best way to do it. So you do payments once a month.
Correct.
And what does revenue split look like with the co-hosts?
So, it ranges. It depends on how many cars they have and what kind of cars. I start off at a 60-40 split, where 60% goes to the owner, 40% management fee. I always try to give the owner more. Like that's like a selling point. Like you're going to get most of the money. I'm managing it. But then as they start to add more cars and more luxury cars, I'll go up to like a 70-30 split on the exotics.
And that's your bottom line?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 70-30 is the bottom line. That's exotics, or if it's a bunch of luxury. So I have one person that has a bunch of luxury cars they've added. They're on 70-30. But it makes a lot of sense with the type of cars and the volume that they're adding. And they're adding more too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's a good deal for them, because I've heard about hosts charging all the way up to like 70%, which is rare, which is very rare.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely happens.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a bunch of different numbers, and I'm just like, man. So for me, it makes sense. And it's so many different factors to it that a lot of people don't really think about. Like you hear 70-30, you hear 60-40, which is my main split, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't really know what goes into that. You don't know who pays for the car note if there's a car note, who pays for expenses, oil changes, those type of things. So you have to really know your numbers and set it up correctly so that you're making money as a host and not just accepting cars just because you want to accept cars and you're not making money.
Yeah, yeah. Don't grow stupidly. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. So that's why I brought it up.
A lot of people do it.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. So what's your, is it, so you take 40% or 30%, depending how many they have, and then do they take care of everything else, like maintenance, everything?
Yeah. So most of it, 99% of all the maintenance is on the owner of the car. I will expense from the total earnings, like the normal day-to-day stuff that's related to reservations. So that could be the cleaning, car washes, things like that will be expensed, and then we split the profit after that. But if the car needs, new tires or anything like that, that would be on the owner. And sometimes there's a little pushback on that, but I always tell them like, hey, I don't have any equity in this car. Like, why would I split cost on that if I don't own the car?
Yeah. Would you ever consider taking equity? I mean, I've never heard of this, but I think you said you don't have any equity. Would you ever consider, like, if somebody came to you and said, okay, I'll give you part equity in the car and you split the costs, like the maintenance and any other thing that come into it?
Yeah. So you know what? I actually have a couple deals like that right now. But it's with a family member. That's the only reason I did it. So I don't know if I would ever do that outside of family. But it's just to help out family and help them make extra money too.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That could be a tricky game.
Real
tricky. Yeah.
Yep.
So 55 cars. How many of them do you have under management right now?
About 40, I think.
Okay,
yeah. Oh, bro, I'm going all in with the management model. Like that's like my core business model is car share management. Yeah. So I'm still buying my own cars, but some of my cars have loans on them. So as I'm making money and adding these other cars, making money from management deals, I can obviously use that money as income for myself, but I've been taking a portion of that and aggressively paying down my own auto loans to increase, my equity in my own fleet.
Yeah. What does your personal fleet look like? What do you own yourself?
Oh, my fleet's like really diverse. So from economy cars, I have definitely a group of economy cars all the way up to I have a couple Escalades in there, a BMW X5. So I have luxury and economy mixed in.
What a mix.
Yeah.
that's a lot of hosts. So I mean, like a guy, I don't know if you know him or not, Brandon Bartron, like he has a 50 or 60 Fiat 500, which is like the cheapest car you can get. And then he has like Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and it's like
I know.
It's complete ends of the spectrum.
See, but that's a good note to make because I know people that are watching this that are brand new that want to get into it. Most people want to pick one segment and stick with it, and that's usually the luxury exotic segment, and that's it. And that's cool. Like I always say, like if you have a steady source of income, you make good money already, have at it, do that. But if you're trying to actually build something where you're making money from it and you don't have a lot of money right now, you got to diversify. You got to do it right.
Yeah. 100%. Let's go back a little bit. How did you get into the space? How did you get started on Turo and rentals?
Man, so I was a consultant working with detail companies. I was helping detailers make more money. But I used to have a detail shop myself, so I clean cars. So I was helping them, and then I had a student that came in and she said, hey, I just want to learn how to detail and ceramic coat my own cars for my rental fleet. I'm like, you have a rental fleet? And I just started picking her brain a little bit about it. So she mentioned Turo. So this was 2016. I downloaded the app and I didn't even use it until 2019. But I just remember, so I had a Mustang GT that was all black. Like it was customized, lowered, black wheels. It was manual. And I was going to sell it. And I saw that app. I said, you know what? Let me just go ahead and give it a shot before I sell it. Maybe I can make money renting it out. And that's how I got started and just kept it going from there.
Wow, that's crazy. So what did scaling look like? How did you start in the beginning? How did you start acquiring cars?
So, man, in the beginning, I did it a lot different than most people do. So in the beginning, that car I owned outright, the Mustang. I had just gone through like one of the hardest financial times in my entire life. I was flipping houses. I lost a lot of money doing that. I just was not good at it. So when I had that car, I started educating myself on like financial literacy. I started reading more self-help books, financial books. And I read a book called The Richest Man in Babylon.
That's a good
And
one.
bro, yeah, one of the biggest takeaways.
That's a
What'd
good
you
one.
say?
Not too many people know about that, but that's a good one. That's a really
Yeah, yeah, man. So one of the biggest takeaways I took from that was pay yourself first. So I took that, and I also read a book called The Compound Effect, and I basically merged those two together. So basically, I was paying myself for my job. I was putting away 10% every month, and then I wanted to compound the money from the rentals. So
Mm.
for the first 2.5 years of me hosting cars, I didn't spend a dime of the money. I reinvested it.
Wow.
So when you asked about scaling, right? I started with my first car. It took almost a year for me to get my second car because I used all cash from revenue from that first car and putting away that 10% from my job. And I did that for my first 7 cars. I bought them all cash, just like that.
That's
Yep.
that's amazing. That's amazing. I think it's a little different now because like since managing or co-hosting, whatever you want to call it, is such a big thing now. You could start with 0 and get up to 30 and I mean no time. I mean you can scale
Yeah.
so quickly.
Yeah, I agree, but I highly recommend anyone that's getting into managing, co-hosting, JV partnerships, is that you start with your own cars, get comfortable with this, either go through education or you learn through the fire, and then you take on these cars because you're going to learn so much by hosting your own cars.
Yeah.
So
You
that's what I
gotta
recommend.
you gotta learn the system with your money before playing with other people's.
Exactly. And I was super conservative. Like I said, after I lost so much in real estate, I was really conservative with what I was doing. I was really nervous to use credit. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to build this out with cash. I'm going to prove it to myself before taking other people's money, before taking other people's cars.
That's smart. I mean, and you did it, and you did just that.
Yep.
So tell me about. So where do you keep your cars? You have 55 cars. Where do you keep them?
Yeah, so now I have an office space. That's where I am right now. I have an office. My cars are actually right outside this window. I have a parking lot out here.
Wow.
It's a shared office building.
Okay.
So I'm able to like cut some costs that way.
Yeah.
But it took a while. I'm a big fan of growing when you have to. So I bring this up because a lot of us as entrepreneurs, as business owners, as we get started, we want to go to the top level at the beginning. So someone might watch this and they see me, right? And like, oh, he has an office building, has a parking lot. They might have 7 cars and they want an office and parking lot. Like, no, like when I had 7 cars, I was still sharing my cars from home, parking them on the street. And then I had an HOA and everything. I just had to make sure my utilization was high enough that no cars were sitting. Yeah.
Holy shit. Oh
Yeah.
my. Did they start messaging you, like emailing you?
No, I was able to get by. Like I said, my utilization was high. So I realized the ratio is that at most I would have 30% of my fleet at a single time, at the most.
Wow.
So anytime I would have 2 to 3 cars out of that 7. So I was able to keep juggling until I decided to actually step into the next stage. And I got a co-working space. And then I got the office that I am now after I outgrew that.
Okay, that's kind of how it goes. I feel like we had a similar thing. We were running out of my brother's house. He doesn't have an HOA, but the neighbors were like, "What's the deal?" We had cars lined on the street at the time.
Yeah.
Cars, and in the summer, and I'm sure you get a little bit of this. Like, you can try to get as much utilization as you want, but sometimes in the summer, like you can't get high utilization. So like we'd have like 60 to 70. I mean, we only have a couple cars out in the summer at times, like during Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
What market are you in?
We're in Phoenix.
Phoenix. Oh, yeah, that's for the super high. Yeah, it's Vegas too, but Vegas is a little different. I would say sometimes our slower season is around the holidays.
Okay.
That's why I was saying earlier, like I'm super surprised Thanksgiving is booked up.
Yeah. So your summers are okay then? You don't have too much trouble?
Yeah, because a lot of people travel here for the summer, even when it's 110, they still come.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot to do there. A lot to do in a very compact, well, at least the strip, at least. Like there's a lot to do. But here in the summer, it's so hot. There's not that much doing here.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little different. Okay, so you have your own office space, you have your own garage. Do you have people like running your cars, or like how are you managing all of them right now?
Yeah, man. So I have a team, and my team makes a lot of this possible now. Before I started having a team, like before I started hiring people and having people that would show up every day, I really realized when I started to bottleneck my business, I got stuck at about 35 cars, I think. Yeah, well, I still had a team member at the time, my detailer that would show up every single day. So before I hired him, I got to about 13 cars.
Okay.
And I bottlenecked on my own. I'm like, yeah, it's no way. Then I brought on a detailer. So my team consists of my detailer that shows up every morning. I have a few detailers, but I have one main one. They're independent, so it's 1099 with them. They'll just pay them per car. I have a fleet manager now that I've hired that pretty much handles all the day-to-day check-in, check-outs, that type of stuff, taking cars to the mechanic shops. And then my wife is part of the team as well, doing bookkeeping. And she's on payroll as well. So that's helped with like tax benefits for us too. So they all help. Yeah.
Sounds like you got it all figured out. That sounds like a good operation you got going.
Yeah, it's clean. I like it. So now that I'm adding more cars, and like I'm like deciding on when's the right time to bring on someone else to work with my fleet manager.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So what are you going to do revenue wise for this year, past 12 months?
For this year, probably right around $500,000 for this year. Yeah. So it's going to be close. Now that's like including some other stuff, like but all like rental related. But with the fleet itself is going to be over 400 for sure.
Damn. So okay. So if you gross 400, what do you? And I don't know if you know this number like that or T, but like what's your net from that? Ish.
My net's about 20% of the total operation. So that's after everything, after paying partners, after car payments.
Wow, that's
hired people. Yeah, so I'm really focused on the net margins.
Yeah.
Like I was the guy that always researched like what's the net margin that's like average. And I saw that, most businesses do 5 to 10% net margin. I'm like, okay, how can I do higher than that? That's where I got stuck. Like when I was just me, I was doing 40% margins, right? When I had a mixture of my cars and started adding other people. So I'm like 40% is great. But then I was like, if I hire people, I start paying some of the money out, that's going to go lower. And I had to get over that hurdle mentally. But I was able to. So it makes more sense now.
Yeah, but you have to be willing to buy your time back. I mean, there's so many reasons for it, but I agree. We're kind of at that stage right now where it's us two. We have a couple part-time people that help us out.
Oh, nice.
Like, we need somebody to like take over the reins, do all day to day. And I think with our size, I mean, we only have 22 cars. I think one person should pretty full-time be able to handle that. But
yeah.
I think at every point, as long as you're scaling, every business hits that.
See, that's the dilemma, right? You decide if you want to hire someone, take a hit to your income. Yeah. And that's what I did, a few months ago when I hired the fleet manager. I had to make a decision to cut my income down and pay him some of my income. Yeah. But since bringing that person on, I've been able to scale. Like I said, I went from 35 cars to 55.
Damn.
In a few months. Just a few months. Yeah, just a few months. Yeah. So I realized for me what my strengths are. My strengths, I'm really good at building relationships, business relationships specifically. Yeah. And just connecting with people. And then like acquisition, getting more cars. So that's what I've been spending my last 3 months really focused on: traveling, connecting with people, and just getting more cars.
That's huge. So what does acquisition look like for the management cars?
So it's a process. So my main thing is like within my cars now that I have under management, there's a variety of people. Most of the people that I have are people that just want to supplement their income, add an extra income. But that's most of the people. But most of the cars that I have under management are actually from people that buy those cars for tax incentives, for tax write-offs. So that's become more of my focus, is like working with people that already make a lot of money. Yeah. And they're in a position of where either they're going to pay a lot in taxes at the end of the year, or they can buy assets and write those assets off. So that's where I've been like really building relationships with people that already make a lot of money, and then they can add more cars, and then they turn those cars into assets and they make more money.
So a lot of these are, you make the relationship and then they buy the car and then you manage it. It's not, they have the car and they bring it to you to manage.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, that I work with now. So some of them already have cars. Like I would say, what is it? Over half the people I work with, and it's not that many. I have 7 partners right now out of all these cars. But over half of them were hosts already, and they had cars, and then they send the cars to me, but then they go out and actively buy more cars to add to my fleet as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
7 partners?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Yeah.
that seems like not a lot for 40 cars, 7 partners. What's that on average?
Yeah. So that's the thing too. So like my main thing is building relationships with the people that really want to grow with me.
Yeah,
So I don't want to add a lot of people that just want one car in the fleet.
yeah.
Like I started accepting, cars with just, from people that just want one car and that's it. But like I'm like explaining the vision from the very beginning. Like, hey, if we partner on this, we could add this car, but what are your plans going forward? Just asking the right questions, and I let them know if we're going to be a good fit or not.
Okay, so you'll turn down people?
I've turned down more partners than I've accepted. Yeah.
So what would be an instance where you turn down somebody? Like what's the key scenario?
The number one reason I would turn down a deal is when I know that they want to be more hands-on than what my system allows.
Okay, that's
But I won't do it. Yeah. So like obviously I'm very transparent. When I send them their breakdown every single month, they get a full expense income sheet. And I also send them a recap of that month so they get that too with their payment. But someone that's going to be reaching out every few days, hey, how's everything going? What's the price at? Can you lower the price? Can you raise the price? I'm not doing that. So that's number one red flag. And the second one is at this stage of where I am, if they just have a secondary car and they just want to make money with that car, I'm usually saying no to those. I might give them some free info on like how they can do it themselves to make money. But I'm really looking to scale more.
Okay, so you're looking with partners that are going to have multiple vehicles, not just one.
Multiple vehicles and really just luxury at the moment. I might open it back up to economy cars, but at this point, it only makes sense to add luxury because I'm buying so many of my own economy cars.
Yeah, well, and it's tough because if you run into like a really slow season and you have a Ford Fiesta or something and it's making, I don't know, $600 in that month, it doesn't matter what percent you're taking because it's going to suck.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny you bring up Ford Fiesta. I got a quick story, and I also want to pull up the earnings for my Ford. I have a 2016 Ford Fiesta. It's the cheapest car on my fleet. It's doing over $1,000 a month consistently right now. It's crazy.
We used to have 3 of those. We love those things.
Yeah, bro, it's killing it. But it started off as a management deal. Wow. Like I tell everybody, if you want to get into car management, car sharing management, tell everybody and anybody what you do. You don't have to pitch them every time. Like if they ask about what you do, let them know. The people that are interested are going to ask more questions. So this car actually came from one of my mechanics. Wow. Like he just was asking about what I do one day, and then I explained to him, and then I had already had deals where I had other people's cars. So I just said, hey, I also help other people do it passively if you're interested in that. He turns around, gives me this car to manage for him. Dang. So I'm managing the car. I think maybe 6 months later, he decides he wants to sell the car instead. And this is something I always do. If I have a partner with a car in my fleet, if they want to sell it, I just ask that they give me dibs first. And I bought that car from them. And now it's killing it in my fleet.
Explain the deal. So 2016, how many miles did it have?
Low miles. Like it's probably at this point, it's probably at like 55K miles. So I got it at really low miles.
What'd you buy it for?
I don't even remember. I think 8,000. I think I bought it for 8,000.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The return is crazy on this one.
That's crazy. That seems crazy cheap. We bought a couple of those, and damn, dude. Yeah.
I was surprised. Like it was like a steal.
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
Let me see.
I'm gonna find it. It's gonna be reversed because the camera's reversed.
Let's see.
But this is let me get that out of
there.
Oh,
it shows it. Wow, white 80. Wow.
I mean, this is October. Let me highlight October.
$1,100. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. 2016 Ford Fiesta.
And it's an S too. S. Isn't that like the lowest trim?
Yeah. Crank windows, bro. Like cloth seats. Like
lowest trim equals highest revenue.
Yeah, but with that one, what I realized is it's a lot of locals that rent it, and then it's at a really cheap price point for the market. It's like 35. Sometimes it's 40. It's like 35 to 40 a day, but they rent it and they'll compare it to like other cars, I assume, that are available, and then they just keep extending it. So all my reservations on this are long, and they extend like a week at a time, few days at a time, and they just keep it.
That's like the best thing you could possibly ask for.
Yeah.
Is that would you consider that your best car as far as ROI that you have in your fleet?
Yeah, definitely. Right now. I think my best ROI overall was a Nissan Versa. It was like a older. It was 2016 too. I got rid of that one now, but I think I forgot. This was like right before COVID when you could still buy cars for like $5,000 with decent miles. I bought that one for like 5 or 6K, and it made all that money back in like 8 months or something like that. Yeah.
It's crazy. You hear so many different models. You hear people that are buying like nice luxury cars. I mean, they're doing well, but then, or well, comparatively to luxury, but then you look at like economy, like Aubrey Janik on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of money that she spent versus what she makes a month, it's crazy.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
Insane. Yep. It's insane. Like,
yeah,
economy is just like the absolute way to go.
That's why I saw the light, bro. Like I said, the compound effect. Yeah. I saw the annual return on investment on those cars, and now that's how I base them. Like all my economy cars, when I buy them, I want to see at least 100% annual return on investment on that car.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what we look at.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what we want. That's smart. So for economy cars, do you have any like advice for people, like what they should look out for, maybe what they should look for?
Yeah, definitely. So some of my main advice is when it comes to economy cars, try to stick with what's normal, right? So I always say like 4-door economy car that's good on gas, one of the standard colors, right? White, black, gray, silver, something like that. Like they tend to do well in any market. Like I've worked with people from all over the country, and I haven't seen them fail in any market. I call them the recession-proof cars. You get those. So I don't do hatchbacks. I don't do anything. They might have like stuff like that might do well, but I try to look outside. Whatever I see most of, that's what I base my economy car on.
Okay. So that's smart. That's really smart. So what are your plans? You have 55 cars now. What are your plans on scaling for the next, let's say, year?
So I'm on the road to 100. So that's what I'm doing, scaling this and then optimizing my business even more as I do. I'm really big on systems and putting systems in place, the right people in place. And that's what I've learned. So as I grow, I'm going to learn new things and put new systems and then invest into other businesses that are really related to this one too along the way.
Yeah, that's smart. So what are you going to need to get to 100? Can you get it? Can you get there in your office space right now?
Potentially. So I have a certain amount of spaces here right now. There's a ton of extra parking here. It's just renegotiating my lease as I add more cars to make sure that I have the space available. So that's like the number one thing with like the growing pains is having enough space for the cars.
Yeah. How much are you paying per spot right now?
So I have an office and then I have spots added on. Like my total overhead right now is like 1,500. So it's not bad. It's
1,500, and you got how many spaces you got?
Yeah. So I think,
bro,
I probably have 18 spaces right now. Because remember, utilization is big. So and every now and then there's a few extra out of that fleet, but I think I probably have 18 to 20 spots right now. So I'm gonna have to add more really soon. But
dude, that is crazy cheap. Phoenix pre-flight right by the airport, just our parking space here pretty much for co-hosts or hosts. They charge $100 to $150 a car per month.
Oh, that's high. I think the average I see is 100 per car per month. The average
kind of switches around, but that's a killer deal. And you have an office. That's like my big thing. It's like I want to be near my cars, working on spreadsheets, the numbers, purchasing.
Yeah, see, because the lower you can keep your expenses is basically a pay raise to yourself. So that's how I've always operated. Like even before I got here, I got up to 20 something cars when I was at a co-working space that was closer to the airport. And my monthly rent there was like 500. It was, because I had co-working. So I had a co-working desk. I didn't have my own office. So it was just an open desk and an open area. And then as I added some cars, they started charging me. So I think it went up to like 900, somewhere close to 1,000 maybe at that point. But I did that until like they just wouldn't allow it anymore. Wow. So that's something I always do. Like I grow and scale to the point where I keep my expenses low. I will not move to the next stage until I'm forced to. So I had to let go of my ego, right? I think a lot of us have that ego where we want the office is super nice, we want all this and that, so we might jump out too fast. And now our expenses are 4 or 5 grand a month, and our fleet's making 7 grand a month. It's like, I'm not going to do that. I want my fleet to make 50 grand a month, and my expenses are 1,500. Right?
Yeah, it's all about the net. I mean, it's a business. Yep. It's all about the net. That's all anybody should care about. Don't worry about anything else except the net.
Yep.
So what about like hiring people? Are you going to need it to get to 100? Are you going to need to maybe double your team? What do you think?
I think I'm going to need at least one other person. I'm thinking 1 or 2 other people.
Okay.
And I think only that many because of the system, right? So my fleet is 100%. I can't say 100%, 99% contactless. Wow. Where everyone picks up the car. They never meet us in person. They come and pick it up. They drop it off. No one's there. The only car I meet in person is the Rolls Royce right now.
Oh yeah. I would be in person too. I'd be nervous. So even at the office, they'll come pick it up and you'll do contactless?
For sure. Yep.
Huh.
Yep. So it's all set up.
You never worried about that?
No. Well, I mean, I've run into some issues and I had to make adjustments along the way, but everyone loves it. Like we get really great reviews based on this. So all my messages are automated. So we don't message that much back and forth. Everything's like lined out for them for the whole process. And then we use lock boxes. So when they get to their car, as long as they verify their info, they're going to have the lockbox code, instructional videos, how to do everything. They get the car, they just take right off after doing their check-in process.
You make them take a selfie in front of the car?
Not in front of the car, just the license photo and the selfie with the license photo.
Okay, because I don't know about there, but a big thing that we run into here is they will take a selfie. This is something we really have to watch out for. Like they'll take a selfie of themselves, like right before the trip starts at like the airport, for example. And it's not like a house, like they're at a house or something, like they're not in that place. And then when we see that, we're like, all right, we'll send us a picture in front of the car too. And they will super late, like really late at night. And it's always Photoshopped. Always.
Yeah. See, it's funny. I haven't heard a single other host talk about this yet, but I catch those. No, I can't say often, but I've caught all the ones that I think actually.
You caught them all?
I think so. I can't say I caught them all because some could have slipped by, right? That I don't know. But I've caught a handful of them where they Photoshop it, and I'm just like, nope. And cancel the reservation.
Yeah, sometimes they're pretty funny. Like some of the Photoshop jobs are just like the worst.
Yeah, it's all jagged edges around the license and all this. Yeah.
So, but you gotta have your eyes out. I mean, you gotta be pretty aware in this business because one person like that takes your car, like it's not going to come back too pretty. I mean, something's going to be wrong.
Oh yeah, there's a reason why they have to Photoshop something to get a car. So don't let it go.
Yeah. So what's like one of the worst things that's happened to you during a rental?
Man. So I would say the worst thing probably was my cursed Mercedes. I don't know if you saw my videos on that. I had a Mercedes E350 that I called my cursed car. Yeah. And bro, like that car went through. It's been stolen before. It's had the catalytic converter taken off of it before. I got it back, went through claims on that. But worst thing on a reservation is this car went on a reservation during this was like a big festival in town. I forgot the name of it, but people rented it during that time. They ended up getting pulled over at a light because they ran a light at a gas station next to a gas station. They got pulled over, went to jail for drug possession. They had fentanyl in the car. The car got impounded. I called the impound. I was like, hey, is my car there? The guy starts laughing. Like, yeah, it's here. I'm like, what are you laughing at? He was like, you'll see. I get the car back. It's full of stuff, but the most interesting stuff is like sex toys throughout the whole car.
What? Like unboxed or boxed?
Oh, bro, no, used and unboxed. They were out, laying out. They were
oh my gosh. You made
it was liquor bottles in there. It was some crazy stuff. Like the guy at the impound lot was like, bro, there's stuff in here I've never seen before. So
dude, that's crazy. Did you clean that one yourself? Do you have your detailer do it?
No, yeah, I'm not cleaning that. Definitely not. I had a hazmat clean, so it was like white glove, like full thorough inside out because of the fentanyl too. So they had to be really careful with that.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it like you inhale like a little bit of that? I mean, can't that shit?
It's very dangerous. That's what they told me. They're like, hey, this is very dangerous. You're gonna have to really get a hazmat clean. So I had it fully hazmat cleaned.
Oh, you had like a company come out and do it.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Holy crap! And did the renters pay for that?
Oh, I got everything reimbursed. Yeah. So yeah, Turo reimbursed all that, paid me for the cleaning, everything.
Oh gosh, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's the wildest thing that's definitely happened during a reservation. It's that.
That is crazy. Surprised, did you get a cleaning fee on that one?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I got 150. Yeah, the 150 cleaning fee for that.
Surprised. I think even then they wouldn't give. I mean, the cleaning fees are so hard to get nowadays. Do you have a problem with that?
So I never tried to get it that often.
Okay.
So I look at it like it has to be really bad for me to try to
Yeah,
get that.
we do too. I mean, it's like very rare. We probably try to get a cleaning fee maybe like 6 times in the past like 1,000 trips. But
Okay.
last time we had, I mean, it was just disgusting. Stains on the seats. We found a human tooth in it. Trash everywhere. Like there's like sticky stuff. I don't even know what it was. Just like everywhere in all the crevices. It was like, I want to throw up. They didn't approve it.
That's crazy. I had someone off-road one of the cars, and they had the whole bottom caked with mud, and I didn't get approved for it with that. So I feel your pain on that.
Did they take it? They actually like took it off-roading?
Well, they denied it, but I'm assuming it just based on how it looked, like it was mud everywhere, all through the wheel wells, it caked the bottom of the car everywhere.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
How do you track your cars? Do you have trackers on them all?
Yeah. I have multiple trackers on most of them. So I have the manufacturer's tracker, of course, on like the newer cars, but then I have a kill switch tracker that I have on there. I use Pastime for that. Then I also have the bouncy trackers in my cars as well to just track the data.
You're triple protected,
bro. I had cars stolen. I've had 3 of my cars stolen.
Wow, 3?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's crazy. That's a lot.
Yeah, I know. So it's been smooth. I increased security a whole lot. And that's what I realized is with all these cars, like once you get to where people start noticing more, like you become a target. Like obviously, especially in Vegas. Vegas is a wild place. But yeah, I had to increase security and change some things, but then be able to track it and shut the cars down if I need to.
That's key. Well, I mean, especially if you're running nicer cars, like you have to take precautions with stuff like that.
Yeah, have to.
Yeah, 100%. What would you say is some of your advice for people wanting to get into Turo or the car rental space?
So, I mean, my biggest advice for anyone that's even remotely interested in getting into Turo is to consider the car share management route. Like, I feel like this is a very unique way, but it's also a perfect time to get into it. And the reason I say it's a perfect time is because when COVID hit, everyone was buying all these cars, had all these high car loans and all this. And now we had an all-time high repo rate right now, delinquency rate on all these car loans. So if you can come in as someone that can help these people, instead of them getting repos in their name, you could take the car under management. You just have extra cars. So I look at it as like there's a surplus of inventory of cars for us to add to our fleets out there.
Yeah.
Plus, it just helps boost your income, your business. I'm growing my business credit even faster just because my revenue is so high in my company.
Yeah, that's great. But of course, start with your own car, learn the systems, learn the revenue, and then into co-hosting.
Yep. And it might not take long. Like if I were to change anything, I would have started taking other people's cars faster.
Yeah.
But it took me a while because I was building out a system of my own. I was building with cash. I was very hesitant. But I think someone that has the right system down, you can get a couple of your own cars, build the data from your fleet. You see a couple months income from your cars. You take that, you put it into an investor packet as like an advertisement, and then you use that to market to other people that can potentially add cars to your fleet.
Yeah, that's really smart. If you were to do it over again, how quickly do you think you could go from 0 to 55?
Oh, now because I have so much info, right? I think I can do that in I'm not gonna say a year because a year is really accelerated, but I would say with under 2 years for sure.
Wow,
I would do that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, that's just how it is. Like once you get the information, it's locked in.
Yeah,
like, you know how to do things. That's I always tell people, like, do research, but obviously the more you know, the better.
Exactly. Yep. Do your research. Like I said, I highly recommend like mentorships, courses. I know a lot of us look at that stuff as like scams or I'll just learn on YouTube, but that's how I've been able to grow to where I am. I have mentors that is like, guided me along the way. Some things that I just didn't know or couldn't find an answer to, like when's the right time to hire someone. You can Google that away. I kept getting stuck because there were so many different answers that didn't really fit to what I was looking to do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the more people you can have help you, mentors, whatever that looks like, the better.
Yeah.
I have so many people that I call like almost sometimes every day. Like, I mean, no matter what size you are, I think people always still have questions. There's always ways to improve or ways to increase revenue, or I mean, there's countless ways to increase your metrics or your business performance and content.
Exactly. Yep. And there's always someone that's ahead of where you are and that can help you. And that could be free. It could be paid. It could be free. I had a lot of mentors early on that didn't even know they were my mentors because I just consumed so much of their content.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's crazy. That's super cool. So where can people find you?
On all social media platforms at Real West Coast Dave. So like The Real, but just Real West Coast Dave.
Okay. And then what about if somebody wanted to reach out about having a car under your management system? What's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, so it would be social media. Main one is Instagram. Go to Instagram, either send a quick DM or if you hit the link in my bio, I have a form right there that you can fill out. Let me know what kind of car you have, what you're interested in, and then send that over to me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely recommend that. I mean, if you're in Vegas or in any of the surrounding areas, you have a killer operation. So
yeah, bro, or anywhere. I have cars in my fleet from all over the country. I have some from Florida, New Jersey, from Texas, from California, Utah. Yeah.
Yeah. You got quite a diverse fleet.
Yep, exactly.
That's great. Well, I appreciate you jumping on, Dave. I mean, it's great to chat with you more and kind of learn about your operation. And dude, text me when you get to 100. We'll do another video.
You already know. I appreciate you for having me on, bro. It's been my pleasure.